Hey, if you're looking to put up a video wall in your lobby of your business, your school, your hospital, your lobby, call Sound and Communications today. SoundcomAV.com. SoundcomAV.com. Your next video wall at your business, hospital, school is powered by Sound and Communications. SoundcomAV.com. Good morning. Welcome in. We're live in the Bank Plus studio. This is 105.9 The Zone ESPN. We welcome in Saints insider Mike Detillier, WWL Radio TV New Orleans. Mike D joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line. And Mike D, what did you make of Derek Carr was, I guess, preaching at a church in Las Vegas recently and was talking about his injury and was taking some shots at people that said that he wasn't injured. Where do you think all of this is headed, Mike D?
Your guess is as good as mine on this. It's a strange situation. I mean, the only thing we sort of knew about Derek Carr was, personal tragedy. And I think sometimes we kind of treat athletes as robots, as they're compartmentalized, that, his wife had a miscarriage. And certainly with that, hearts and prayers go out to the family. But he really didn't say anything more than we had known before, to be honest with you, and that he was still waiting to see, what the doctors were going to tell him about his shoulder. So other than, the personal stuff with him, and certainly that's a big deal, anytime you lose a child, that I don't know anything more, Bo, than I did 3 weeks ago, to be honest with you.
Okay. So, I mean, at the end of the, so we don't know the extent of the injury. Is that accurate, Mike?
We don't know the extent of the injury, and I can say people in that Saints front office were caught off guard with his announcement. And I'm not just talking about the guy who sweeps the floors. I'm talking about people in the upper management that were just caught off guard that his people leaked that information out about his shoulder. That didn't come from the Saints. That came from Derek Carr. And I get you might be angry about, something social media-wise, but
go. You have to take the European break.
So I don't quite get, his rant about what he felt was wrong. I don't get what he's trying to kind of finger point here as far as, things that he says, social media wise or media has created. Didn't he create this?
I think so.
People create this? But he doesn't want to take any blame for anything. Nothing. Had this come out, after the season that, hey, listen, I've got a shoulder injury and we're taking a look at it and see what happens, that's fine. But he's sort of, pointing that finger everywhere else but his own team. And I'm talking about team of agents, advisors, whatever on this. I'm a little confused, Bo, of what he was trying to get across at that point. Blaming the media for misinformation. Well, all you had to do was come out and say it, right? Wouldn't that have cleared it up? Instead, you've been dead silent since the end of the season. I haven't said one thing, not a word.
All right. So do you expect, and I guess we may not know, but are you expecting a divorce eventually, or for them to, I guess, identify this mysterious shoulder injury. I guess he'll be okay, and he and Kellen Moore get on the same page. How do you see this unfolding, Mike D?
Well, because of the finances involved, you cannot cut him this year after June 1st. It would accelerate tremendously, the salary cap situation. So one way or another, he's on the Saints roster. If he's playing or not remains to be seen. But he's on the Saints roster for the 2025 season. Now, after 2025, he's not here anymore. And it'll be most likely a post-June 1st cut in 2026. And we're talking about next year now. A 2026 release of Derek Carr. Because of the fact that you still owe him $59 million.
Good Lord.
Off the books. It is a kind of crazy version of Monopoly when you look at it, but it is accurate that you're going to have to kind of rearrange things. And so he's on the books if he's playing or not playing in 2025. He's on this Saints team. And when you had an out after 2025, if you wanted it, you had an out. But you decided as a team to go to the Bank of Carr and get money to play in free agency. You did it a year ago. Once you made that decision, then, you got to accept that you're going to have to deal with the financial part of all this. It's, you kind of checkmated here.
Do you think Miss
But once you made that decision last fall to do it, that was the point of no return.
Okay. Do you think Miss Benson is upset with the decisions that have been made in the front office like this one?
I don't know if she is, but I know I would. I know I would, and I know what I'd be upset at. I'm sure she was informed when that decision was made. I'm fairly certain of that. She was informed of it at that time. But, and I know one thing, I wouldn't be real happy about what I've seen, my results, and that one major move has crippled your franchise financially.
All right. Do you expect him to be the starting quarterback week 1, Derek Carr, for the Saints?
Saturday, and saying if he's healthy, he would be. And I agree with that if, and that's a big if he's healthy, he would be. But, we really don't know anything more about his health today than we did when his team leaked it out to the press. So I would expect that if he's healthy, he would be the starter.
Okay. Why do you think he's doing? If he knows the numbers too, and he knows what the Saints can and can't do with his contract, why do you think Mike Detillier that Derek Carr is operating like this?
Because I think he really was looking to get out. I think he was looking to force a trade. But, if that was out there, and nobody would accept that contract no matter what. To be honest, nobody's trading for him and accepting that contract. Now, would some teams have an interest in him if he were cut loose and you kind of sustained that huge salary cap hit? I think probably you would have a couple teams, because now they can do the terms, kind of on their side, and he gets his money no matter what. That's the cut of this But no matter what, he's getting paid. If it's from the Saints or if it's from another team, he's getting his money. It's guaranteed. I've always felt this was his way to try to work his way out of New Orleans, knowing that he's just a bridge guy here.
Okay, do you think they pull a Broncos and eat it? And
no, I do not think that way.
Okay.
Do not.
Okay.
I think that was a lot having to do with Coach Sean Payton saying enough's enough. And listen, let's eat it this year, and we'll deal with the consequences. I don't think the Saints organization wants to admit that they made a mistake with Derek Carr.
Oh,
and
wow.
sometimes, listen, you can make a mistake, Bo. We all do. You know, any team, we all do in life and personal stuff. We all make mistakes. Admitting it is, and moving on is the best route. The worst thing in the world is to know you made a mistake and you keep it. I'm going to show you I was right. And you know you're wrong. You know you're wrong about it.
Okay. Mike Detillier, WWL Radio TV New Orleans. He joins us on the Farm Bureau Insurance Guest Line. Show is brought to you by Sound and Communications. Your next video wall is brought to you by soundcomav.com. All right, so this looks like a disaster. We'll see if and when Derek Carr gets healthy. The Saints they have to eat all $59 million, or if they move him at some point, does another team share some of that, Mike D?
Well, if you cut him, you eat it.
Okay.
Now, in a trade situation, they would take on that contract, so you would share it. But if I'm another team, why would I want to do that? You're not going to give me a good reason, Bo. I'm going to just tell you, you're not going to give me a good reason why. It's, another team would have an interest, but on their own terms, financially, not on the Saints' terms. That's not going to work. But for the Saints, they kind of caught in a checkmate situation here, where any move you make is going to trigger financial difficulties. Now, if you cut him post June 1st next year, then you can split that up. Basically split the salary in half for 2026 and 2027. And I think that would be the amicable thing to do financially. But you still caught. There is no easy way out, put it to you that way. No easy way out.
All right, so if he's not healthy, this could be a Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shuck battle in New Orleans, Mike? Is that what you think? How do you see it?
Yes. Yeah, if he's not healthy, then it's a battle. And to be honest with you, if you know early, you're going to have to go out and get a veteran quarterback somewhere. If it's a free agent signee, if it's through a trade, you're going to have to go out and get a veteran quarterback. You can't go into the season with a second-year Spencer Rattler, a third-year Jake Hayner, and a rookie quarterback. That ain't working. You're going to have to go out and get you a veteran quarterback. If you know, say, in June, you're going to have to know.
Okay. All right. Mike Detillier on the Out of Bounds Show. Do you, with Kelvin Banks Jr., the offensive tackle out of Texas in the first round, and Tyler Shuck out of Louisville. For Saints fans, if you were busy over the weekend, the Saints took Tyler Shuck out of Louisville at the number 40 pick in the draft. Mike just said if Derek Carr's not healthy, it's going to be a Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shuck, and maybe whatever crumbs are left on the street, veteran. Jameis Winston's already found a home. Gardner Minshew's found a home. So, we'll see how that all looks. Mike, did you like those two draft picks, Kelvin Banks from Texas and Tyler Shuck from Louisville?
Yeah, I understood it too, because if you've hit, and I use the word if you've hit here, then you could have two places that are the most important on your football team, left tackle and quarterback, settled for 10 or 12 years. If you've hit, again, it's the if part. I like Kelvin Banks, and it's funny. We had Archie on last night, and in leading up to the interview, I told Arch I was going to ask him about Kelvin Banks, and he said, "Well, I'll tell you something I think Saints fans will like," and that basically being that he and Lil Arch were talking last year. And Lil Arch tells him that Kelvin Banks Jr. was the best football player on the Texas football team.
Damn.
I'm like, whoa, hey, that's pretty sweet. When you're talking about that team got some players on it.
Sure.
I mean, they're not devoid of talent by any stretch of the imagination. And Lil Arch felt Kelvin Banks was the best player on that team and a great leader. That he used that term, quiet but great leader on that team. So, man, that's really saying something when you make that comment about a certain guy. That is pretty good.
Yeah.
To make that comment, and that's coming from a player. That's not coming from some draft analyst or somebody that is pulling that out of the sky. That's coming from a guy that's in the huddle with him. That told me a lot. If Lil Arch felt that way about him.
Wow.
Really, really did. And so when Arch told me I got something to say, and I think Saints fans will like it, I knew it was not going to be anything negative. Put it to you that way. That's not the way Archie works. So, but I was impressed with that. That the quarterback would say that about an offensive tackle, and he's the best player on this team. That's a huge compliment. Huge compliment.
Okay. Let's go to, I don't think people were surprised that Shador Sanders dropped in the draft, but the way he dropped, were you shocked, surprised at what unfolded over the weekend?
I can't say I was shocked. I'm going to say I was a little surprised how far he dropped in the draft. But I can't say I was shocked with it. You were surprised he lasted that long. That's a long ride. That's a really, 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 really long ride for him to stay. But I think, it came down to, did you want to be part of the kind of circus of events that could potentially happen, if things don't work out or if things go awry? Let's put it this way. If things happen where, your quarterback is struggling and you need help, and Shedeur's not the one the coach calls on right away. That's what I think is the fearful part of this. If you're a coach or if you're a general manager, do you get caught in the vortex of the tornado of events that could happen, where you might have, Coach Prime talking about certain things and taking a shot and everything else. So you can understand that perfectly, of why he lasted longer than expected. But I'll be honest, it lasted a lot longer than I think anyone would have thought. I don't care what people say today. It lasted much, much longer than anybody could have imagined.
All right. Well, let me switch gears. Have you had a chance to talk to new general manager of the New Orleans Pelicans, Joe Dumars?
Bo, you broke up. Say it one more time.
Have you had an opportunity to catch up with Joe Dumars?
No, I haven't. We had the interview process go on, but we haven't had him on. He's trying to move back down here, so we haven't had an opportunity to get to one-on-one with him.
That was my favorite team in the 80s, even over the Lakers and Celtics. I loved Isaiah Dumars and Vinny the Microwave Johnson and Chuck Daly. And, of course, Rodman Lambeer, Mahorn, Sally were kind of roaming around in the post. But it could be a good hire. You know, the Pelicans need God bless them. They need a reboot and a jump start.
I wish he could play again.
Me too. Me too.
He could play. The crazy thing about Joe, Joe comes from a small town in Louisiana, and those bad boys, man, they never shut up. But one thing with Joe never said anything. Joe was the quietest one of the bunch. He just let his play do all his talking for him. He was one hell of a player. And early on,
he was.
As an administrator, he had great success.
He did.
But, boy, it fell apart. And that's why I want to see what he puts around him to give him advice on selecting players, on acquiring players.
Mm-hmm.
I always think that is the key to any success for any GM, is having people around you to give you good info. I said this before about Howie Roseman and the Eagles. They have 22 scouts. 22. And all I'm telling you is that's a lot of guys pumping you information.
Yeah, it's impressive what Jeffrey Lurie has done and what Howie Roseman have done with the Philadelphia Eagles. Mike D, we'll get more into that a little bit later. We appreciate you. Have a great week, buddy.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Bo.
Mike Detillier, WWL Radio TV New Orleans, Saints Insider. What are we going to do with Derek Carr? And what's the extent of the injury? We're going to play some of that audio in hour number 3. He was at a church in Las Vegas, and he started talking about his shoulder. He's not happy with, and I bet the Saints aren't happy either. Are they going to be able to get back together? Hour number 3 coming up.